What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 408 of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and my co-host is
Alex Figueroa.
And on this episode, Alex, we're starting a new month. It's November. It's Thanksgiving. And what's the gift that keeps on giving? It's my boy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So we're going to be doing a little Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson month. These are going to be movies that he starred in, all one-offs, no sequels, just one action movie starring the man himself. Now, we're starting in 2010, a little movie called Faster. The movie was, of course, directed by George Tillman Jr. Also, a really kind of a stacked cast. A little bit, like a lot of people that are known. Billy Bob Thornton is in this. You got Maggie Grace. Tom Berenger is in the scene here. You also got Carla Gugino. Mike Epps pops up in this. Like, there's a lot of people that you have seen when you're actually watching the movie. So, Alex, have you ever seen this movie or heard of it before this review?
I heard of the movie, but I never seen the movie. And it's pretty interesting because the detective cop lady was his wife in San Andreas, wasn't she?
Yeah, Carla Gugino.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, now they're on the other side of the law. Each of them's on the other side of the law. But then they were together trying to escape the earthquakes. All right, so yes, we have a nice cast. You have a big star. This was, by the way, little fun fact before we get into it. This was his return to action films. If you remember, he started off making action movies, Scorpion King, Mummy 2, Scorpion King, The Rundown, Walking Tall. Like, those were his first bunch of movies. Then he started making like kind of kid movies, family. Remember, he did like The Game Plan. I think that was him, right? Yeah, The Game Plan, The Tooth Fairy, Be Cool. He started doing some comedy. So, you know, he wanted to branch out. And this was his return to action filmmaking. So when it came out, it was kind of a thing, even though it did not make a lot of money. And let me tell you, these Rotten Tomato scores, they're not great. I went to look it up after the movie's over. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's see what this got. 41% critic score for this film and a 52% audience score. So what are your thoughts on those numbers?
Very shocking audience.
Yeah.
I can see the critics hating.
I thought it'd be higher. I know a lot of people dig this movie.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I think it's very shocking to see that, to be honest.
Pretty low. But anyway, we're going to give you our 2 cents. Now, just so you guys know, if you've never seen Faster, obviously we do, you know, you guys know by this point, you listen to us, we do sport. We just talk the whole movie. But this is as far as the style, very 70s. Think 70s kind of action thriller. That is what this movie is. Fast cars, tough guys, not a lot of dialogue. You know, like, it's that kind of movie with some modern stuff thrown in. So we're going to start right with our lead character. I stopped short of calling him our hero because he's the protagonist, but he's also not a good guy. So we're going to start, he just called Driver throughout the movie, played by Dwayne Johnson. Alex, take it away.
The Rock was really good in this movie. I was very shocked. This is the first time me watching this movie. So I was just like, okay, let's see what happens. I thought he was very good, very different from all the other roles that he, you know, we get used to him now. I think he got way better every year that he started to do movies. I think the more he did it, I think he started to get comfortable as an actor. This one, I could see he falls under the action category. And I'm going to say this now. I believe he should do more movies like this. One-off, like Jason Statham. Just do one-off action movies. Whatever it is, just do them. I think he's really good. I like this character. He's just avenging his brother's death. I thought it's a pretty cool storyline for The Rock. He doesn't have much dialogue, so it works for him. He's like a Stallone character for like a Rambo type character and like John Wick, where they don't talk much, but when they do talk, it's always like a meaningful sentence or something. I gave him a 4. And this is why I gave him a 4. I think and I think it's because I wanted to hear more of the dialogue. I think The Rock, he did great in the role. I'm not scoring the role. But in terms of the character himself, I wanted more of the backstory. Like, we did get backstory of why he became a driver, why they swapped out, why they did this and that. But I wanted to know a little bit more on the character and him and his brother. Just a little bit more and more of him talking in the movie. I wanted to hear more of him talking. But other than that, I gave him a 4.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because it is a very different role. You watch this and you watch a lot of his other movies. He has a few other ones that he played. This is like completely straight. There's no jokes. There's no humor. There's no, you know, like, everything is played deadly serious, and he does not talk a lot, which, you know, you have someone who comes from wrestling. That's how everyone knew him still. Even in 2010, he's still more known for being a wrestler than being like the biggest star, because that didn't really pop off till he joined the Fast and Furious movies, as far as that superstardom movie wise. But a different role for someone who's so good at talking and so charismatic to just be, but it worked because the dude he has the look, right? And I like it. He has like the little facial hair. It's kind of starting to be a little gray. He doesn't look, clean. He looks like he's been through it. He looks like he will jack you up. I love the scene with the Samoan guy where he walks up to him and he's like, bro, he looks at his tattoo. He's like, I ain't fighting this guy. I'm not messing with this guy. He doesn't have to talk. People know. And I love it. He's a man of action in this. You're right. There's some good comps there. Statham would be good in this role. Stallone back in like the 80s, early 90s would have been good in a role like this. It fits right in the action kind of. I feel like they all need to do a movie like this, like at least one, where they're just more about doing than saying. But I also agree, I like him as, I like his usually more charismatic stuff. So a little more dialogue, it would have been good. They give you enough backstory with him and the brother as far as the relationship. Clearly, he's like he's like adopted or something. When he goes to visit like the mom, character, and he just calls the dad the old man. You know what I mean? He doesn't, it's one of those pulpy movies, kind of like Walter Hill. It feels like a Walter Hill movie in a lot of ways. So I don't know. I think the character is good. I gave him a 4, same as you. I did not give him a 5, but I think it's a good character, and I like where it goes throughout the whole thing from start to finish. I like his arc overall. Bad guy, but you understand why. And they do try to redeem him a bit. Like, hey, he's like, I didn't even get into crime really, except that I was trying to protect my brother because he didn't have a driver. You know what I mean? And he gets wrapped up in all this stuff. And while he's in jail, he's got one mission. He's like, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to get all these people. And I like it. Who doesn't like that? Okay, villains. Now here we get 2 main villains. There's a lot. This is like kind of like Kill Bill, and like he has a list, and everyone on the list is like involved, so they're all bad. But our 2 main bad guys, you have Billy Bob Thornton, who just goes by Cop in this movie, and then you have that other guy who goes by Killer. He's played by Oliver Jackson Cohen. By the way, I knew him from somewhere. I was like, this guy looks familiar. He was the rich guy in The Invisible Man, the new Invisible Man. He's the Invisible Man in the new Invisible Man. But anyway, you have Cop, you have Killer, 2 very different characters. So Alex, take it away.
So I gave it a 4 for the villains. And this is why. Billy Bob Thornton, he's a great actor, but I felt like it was way too much stuff for that character. Right? He was a LA narcotics guy, and then he's still doing heroin or whatever the hell it was that he's doing with his wife or whatever, girlfriend. But then you have the element of the family on top of that. So like, yeah, he does have elements to him, but then I just feel like it's just so much thrown at that character just to give him flaw. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like a natural flaw. It just felt like my thing is, if he's doing heroin, then goes to a crime scene, how does no one knows that he's doing heroin? You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, that bugged me out the first time around. Like, any cop would know if someone's on high. But he walked in like so nonchalant. I was just like, Like, to me, that's not believable at all. You're high as fuck. You're going to be going in at work. You're going to look off. You're going to look pale. My man looked mad Gucci. He had the 70s porno clothes on. I was like, geez. But anyway, in terms of the character, I was okay with him. And it comes out to the plot twist of the character. I was like, all right. I was, to me, I was like, okay, damn, that sucks. But at the same time, I was just like, all right, fits that kind of character. I like the assassin way more than Billy Bob Thornton. And I guess because I love assassins for some damn reason. But I felt like his storyline was really cool. Like, he couldn't give up trying to kill this guy. They hired him to kill the driver, The Rock, and he's going out with Maggie Grace, which she is gorgeous in this movie. So honestly, I gave the 4 for the split, 2-on-2. I don't think it's perfect enough for the story, but I think adding the killer on top of having Billy Bob Thornton investigating this thing, I think worked very well. So I gave it a 4.
All right. I love it because you know what? This is one of those times where we're going to be a little bit different in our scores. A classic Alex and Nate moment where we're going to go a little opposite. I gave them a 3 altogether, but I'm going to tell you why. The killer brings down my score because okay, let me tell you, this is going to sound silly, but I mean, this is the movie, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, but I will be correct. My man grew up with Forrest Gump legs. He had Forrest Gump legs. He had leg braces. He's like, he couldn't, he was a little handicapped when he was smaller. So he breaks out of his Forrest Gump legs. You could tell he got scars, right? He had surgeries and stuff like that. So he becomes essentially an adrenaline junkie. He's like, I'm going to do all the impossible stuff because I couldn't walk when I was a kid. So like, he has all these photos like he's like a mountain climber and like a race car driver. And he's an extreme, like he probably does skydiving and he does all this stuff. And he's an assassin, okay, who works for $1. His fee is $1, which made me laugh. I won't lie. That made me laugh at the end. He's like, oh, I forgot to pay you. He goes to give him $1. He's like, why do you do all this for $1? And basically the point is that he does it because it's impossible. It's difficult. He does it for the challenge rather than for any other purpose. He's not motivated by money. How the hell does he have this big, huge house if he does all this stuff for $1? I don't know. I don't even know what he actually does to make any money. You would think he got all his money because he's an assassin. But if all the jobs only cost $1, I mean, heck, even if he did 1,000, that's only $1,000. So I don't know. I'm a little confused. He feels in a movie that's kind of, like I said, kind of pulpy, kind of, with the names like Driver, Killer. He seems the most kind of cartoony to me. It's like, okay, what is going on with this guy? Maggie Grace, gorgeous. I don't understand what she does. She's like, is she also an assassin? She's like shooting guns with him, cleaning guns. She knows how to do. But then when he wants to go do it, she's like, we're married now. You can't be doing this anymore. And he's like, girl, you liked it the other day. You know what I mean? And now she's like, no, well, we weren't married back then. So I don't know. It's a little weird. I don't hate him. I just think he seems like from a different movie than everyone else. Because everyone else is like gritty, real. And he's like kind of over the top. I don't hate him, but he brought it down to a 3. I like Billy Bob Thornton. I like the Crooked Cop. I'm a sucker for a good Crooked Cop story. My only issue, and it'll go into storyline, but it's pretty obvious that he's in on it the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I wish they did a better job. Even so much as, why the heck did they show that picture at the house where the girlfriend's clearly in the photo with his brother? And you're like, oh, so she was in on it. And that means, oh, Billy Bob was in on it. So it's like, I feel like they gave that away too early, because then when they show the reveal, remember, like they show he gets shot and then it pans up and it's Billy Bob. And like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that was going to be him. So I just wish they did that a little different. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. You gave it a 4. I gave it a 3. All right, action scene.
5.
Ooh.
That car driving scene was dope. The
first
assassin,
one, the heist?
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah. The assassin versus him driving.
Oh, yeah.
That was dope because he had him on line of sight, but he didn't want to kill him because he didn't do nothing to him. And then he shot back. I was like, little bitch. I got a little tight.
He shot him in the tire.
Yeah.
Rock shot him in the tire. He shot him in the neck.
Yeah, I was like, that sucks. But anyway, I thought those were great driving scenes. I thought the part in the hotel was really cool. The Rock going up to him with the gun and switching out the revolver bullets. I thought that was really fun. I thought it had there was not, okay, so as much as I'm giving it a 5, because I think this movie, it has that like Rite Aid action movie. Like what I mean is like, it's like The Mechanic or like Die Hard, or not Die Hard. What the one with the Charles Bronson movie that we did with Bruce Willis?
Oh, Death Wish.
Death Wish, right? It has like those type of like straight to DVD action. Like it's really good, shot very well, and you have plenty of it. But then at the end, it's just lackluster because they didn't know how to end it. Like, I thought we were going to have a more payoff at the end, but there was not. He hit the Rock in his head and hit him in the metal plate.
The Lex Luger metal plate.
Yeah, the Lex Luger metal plate, right? And I'm just like, and then he shoots him in the neck, and then that's pretty much it. Where I'm like, yo, bro, my man killed my brother. I'm whooping this dude's ass from all over the place. But we didn't get none of like that big payoff. But then you had some cool stuff when he walked into the guy's like office and shot him point blank. I said, this thing is awesome. That's the beginning of the movie. I was like, Nate is right up my alley this week. We don't have a bad movie at once this week.
Heck yeah.
So there was a lot of cool stuff. You had the bathroom fight. Loved it. I loved the scene with the church. I thought that was the tension there worked very well for me. So in terms of
watching the guy do the sermon in the back.
Yeah. I thought that worked very well because out of all of them, he's the only one that survived. And when you look at the flashback, the guy didn't even do nothing. All he said was, "Why did you kill him?" Like we didn't.
He was involved, but he didn't. He almost reluctantly.
Yeah. And I think that's why he forgave him, because he literally did not do nothing to his brother. He was just there at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he forgave his sins. But anyway, with that said, this movie's a 5. It's a straight to DVD 5. I'm not gonna say high quality.
This came out
5,
in the theater, but I know.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I
know this is because I saw the box office here.
Yeah.
But when you look at this movie, even on Blu-ray, I'm like, bro, this looks like a straight to DVD movie. But anyway, I give it a 5.
It definitely has a lower budget feel, so I see exactly where you're coming from. Absolutely. And I think it's intentional. It is, like I said, it's definitely an homage to 70s movies, so it's not as glossy. It's well shot, it's well made, but it's not as A-list as rock movies would become over time. Okay, I was like on the fence with the action score. I agree with almost everything you said. I ended up at a 4. But the one thing that made it, because at first, honestly, I was like, this is like maybe a 3. I like all the scenes you mentioned. I love the office one where he just walks in and blasts the guy. I was like, okay.
It's a big dude walking through an office.
The way the lady's like, sir, and he just goes. He just goes right past her. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't stop him either. You noticed she didn't chase him. She just said she stayed in her chair. And then I like the car chase scenes. Both of that, like I like the heist scene is really good. I like the one with the assassin, also really good. And I like the knife fight. I wish it was a little longer. I think that might minus a little bit for the bathroom fight. Like I feel like it could have been a little more, but it's still cool. However, so I was like at a 3, but then what made me go to a 4 instantly is my favorite part of the movie is when so he gets the knife fight guy, he stabs him with the ice pick, and then the guy's like, call my son and tell him I'm sorry. And then The Rock calls him. He calls him and he's like, hey, your dad said he's sorry. he's like, you know what? Did you kill him? He's like, yeah, I did. And then he's like, I'm gonna get you when I get older. I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna kill you. Anyway, after this, he finds out the dude's alive and he spins the car. He spins the car around. Drives to the hospital, walks in the hospital, and absolutely obliterates the dude. Shoots him like 5 times. Yeah. Boom, 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 and then just leaves the hospital. And that bumped me to the. I was like, oh, okay, now that's like the Office one, but on steroids. He's like, he walked through that hospital and blasted that dude.
Which, right? I mean, I totally agree with you. But my only problem with that, even my wife said, she goes, "Wait a minute, this guy's been killing everybody. This guy's a suspect, but they have no cops in front." Oh, yeah, front. And then Billy Bob Thornton is in the food snack area reading something.
Yeah, remember he lets him live. They encounter at the hospital, and then he lets him live. I like that he has a code, right? He doesn't just if he thinks you weren't involved or he didn't know you, he doesn't want to kill you. But anyway, that part made me go through before. I was like, heck yeah, you're right. Logically, okay, sure. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but visually, it's awesome.
No, it's amazing. Oh yeah,
the way the car, like it's from overhead, and the car's like, he's like, nah, this guy's gonna die. That's it. So I love that. So 5 from you, 4 for me. Storyline.
Okay. Oh, it's done. While there's plenty of plot holes throughout this movie, I gave it a 3. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, you could go into the 4 realm too, because actually it was done very well. But for me, it's a 3 because it's a revenge story at the end. It's like a Western. You kill my brother, I'm going to roll up in town and kill everybody. So for me, there's no wow factor there, but I kind of like the plot twist because I never seen it. You already saw it. So I didn't know Billy Bob Thornton was the bad guy until I saw the photo and I went, oh, dude, so I was like, okay. And for me that saw it for the first time without knowing the plot twist of Billy Bob Thornton, I thought they kept the secret very well throughout the movie. Like, I didn't know why. I mean, I knew he was in on it because he took the case. And whenever a cop takes the case, you already know he's in on it somewhere.
When he's about to retire.
Yeah, he's about to retire. Yeah. So, and I was like, okay, I wish, and I think this is where the story for me, I gave it a little bit knockoff points was, I wish the girl character, Detective Chick.
Carla Gugino?
Yeah, her. I wish she would have found out more earlier. Because then you could play the cat and mouse of them trying to get to the ending. Like her getting the printing thing, I was like, oh, this is so 2000. With the printer, and he's taking his time. And he said, where are you? And he's like, well, I'm here. I found him. And I was just like, yeah. I wish it was more of a cat and mouse because I thought it was going to be that way because she started to put the pieces together. And I thought during that whole sequence, I thought, they're going to, I piece it up better and maybe she'll go by helicopter or whatever to meet them there. Yeah. But no, and I wanted to see a standoff between her and The Rock's character. And then she lets him go because she figures out what happened. They never did. And I was just like, oh, the only interaction we got was San Andreas. Other than that, it's pretty much. But yeah, I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3. I thought it was good.
Yeah. This is also very 2010 when he goes in, Mike Epps gets him the car and then he goes in and it has the directions like, take a left on this street. No GPS. Handwritten map quest. And, that's the best. That car is absolutely sick though. That Chevelle. Oh my gosh. I love it. It sounds so good. All right. You mentioned you could go to the 4 realm. film. I dipped my toe in it. I gave it a very soft 4. A soft 4. I like it a lot. Everything you said, I agree with. I think I just liked it a little better. Now, if I go back to the first time I watched it, yeah, the Billy Bob thing, they did mostly a good job. Except I still think they showed the picture too early. Like, there was still a lot of time, like 20 minutes left after that. You know, where you're like, now you're on to him, where it could have really been a surprise. Like, full on, where they do the flashback where the girl's in the car and you're like, oh no, she was the one, and then he gets in the car and the whole thing with the hair. I think it could have been even better, but it's mostly good. I like all the characters. I like even the small ones, like his ex, where he goes to visit and he's like, oh, is that my son? She's like, no, man. Like, I had an abortion with your son. Like, that was sad. Like, I think they wrote a lot of stuff that develops the characters a lot, even though it's like just quick minor stuff, like him going to visit her. She's literally in one scene, that lady from Dexter, and then he's out of there, right? Or the Maggie Grace and the killer, like their whole dynamic. Like, I actually think it's a good story. That's why when we got to the Rotten Tomatoes scores, I was also like you, surprised. I was like, really? Like, I don't know why. I don't know. I like it. I gave it a 4. Okay, what's your overall?
Okay, so very interesting. I don't think it's a perfect movie at all, but I think it's a great film. I would watch this again. Like, I wasn't bored at all. I was excited throughout the whole movie because I was like, man, there's so much action throughout every other piece. Yeah. There was some boring parts here when they got married and all that. I was like, that's so stupid. I would have cut that out. But I'm not the director. But to me, it works. I like the assassins, the lovers, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I thought it was going to be both. Would have made it more fun because you got the girl and the guy going towards him. Mm-hmm. I thought that would have been some fun stuff you could do there. But I thought the dynamic of the assassin thrown in. I love the scene with the old man. My man busted in there. Oh, and he was like, "Oh, it wasn't my fault." And he just shot him in the
creep
face
with the camera.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Oh, he's so smile for the camera. Yeah, he'll kill this guy, bro. I hope this guy dies. So just come kill him.
I wish The Rock used the one-liner there, like "Smile for my gun."
Smile for my gun.
That would have been my catchphrase, and then you
smile
just
for my gun.
Yeah, and then you go poof, and then shoot him in the face.
Him.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool. I liked the storyline; was pretty cool. The only thing that I gave it a 4 out of 5. The only thing that knocked it off the 5 was I wish the girl cop was more involved in the movie. I was like, they didn't involve her more because I really like the girl cop. It's weird because I'm a big sucker for cops, like detective stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I love when they involve them and they're more heavily into the action. Like, because you got that cat. I love cat and mouse games. That's why I'm so attached to like The Fugitive because that is so big. U.S. Marshals is another good one with stuff like that. So this one, I just wish she was more involved. So the ending would have been more tightened and more like emotional, where she's just like, you know what, shoot this guy. He killed your brother. Like, he's a dirty cop at the end of the day. But yeah, so with that, I gave it a 4.
Yeah, I like this movie. I told you about it. I've told a lot of people about it too. Like, I feel like it's one of those underrated sort of hidden gem movies, honestly. Underseen. Okay, I agree it's not a 5, it's not like perfect. There's definitely some flaws. Yeah, it has a little bit of a B-movie nature to it, sure. You know, the characters, it has that thing of like, they're called driver, and some people don't like that. I get it, it's fine. I don't really care, but some people don't like it. But if you're like a fan of Walter Hill movies, or just kind of that 70s style of like action thriller type movies, I think this movie has a lot to offer. I think The Rock, it's one of his better performances, honestly, just acting wise, because he doesn't get to rely on his charm or anything like that, right? He's playing like a bad guy who you sympathize with in a lot of ways anyway, right? They give you enough backstory. You know, he grew up, he was foster kid, he was abused by the dad. The brother's the only one who treated him well. So when he dies, like, he has nothing else, right? Clearly he doesn't have a girl, the kid is gone. So like you sympathize with him and you're on this journey with him. And I think it's a fun movie. I agree with you. I'm never bored. This is only my 3rd time ever seeing it, but it's one I do like to revisit every couple years. Like, I definitely think it's worthwhile. It's shot well. It's well made. I gave it a 4 as well. I think it's a very entertaining little action movie, right? Like, it's not big explosions and all that, but it's gritty and it's got a lot of good actors in it. Honestly, the acting is really good. Even I love the preacher guy. That guy's been in a bunch. He was in G.I. Joe. He was Killer Croc in the Suicide Squad movie.
He was in The Mummy Returns.
Yeah, I really like him, and I like his whole speech. about the forgiveness and all. And that scene was good. The acting between the two guys. So yeah, I dig this movie a lot. All right, what's your total points?
It's a 20 out of a 25.
We're really close. I have a 19 out of a 25. That was just because of the action dip. But yeah, 19 out of 25, 20 for you. So we're off to a good start. We're going to call this the Rocky and Rock Connection this month. Because we got all Rocky movies and all Rock movies. Which, by the way, when are we getting like a Rock and Stallone movie together? Or like,
That's
they could
true.
do it. They could do it. Stallone, they could still make that happen. They're both, Stallone still, Schwarzenegger is done for. I think he's cooked. He got nothing left. But Stallone's still out there, Let's get it. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so next on the Rocky and Rock Connection month, next week, we are going to be doing a little Rocky 2, continuing in that franchise. And then we're going to be doing The Rock's take on a classic story, one of the oldest stories in time, Hercules. So we're going to be doing his Hercules movie. Have you ever seen that movie? Nope. All right. Well, we're going to be doing
Honestly, I think this whole Rock month I've never seen, except the one with his one leg. I saw that one.
Skyscraper. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Other than that, the 4 out of the 5. Or
I think
4 out of the
I don't know how you're going to feel about Hercules, to be honest. I've only seen it once. I saw it at the theater and I reviewed it back in 2014, but I haven't seen it in 10 years. So I'm interested. Snitch, I think you're going to, if I had to guess, Snitch is more like this movie, faster, in that it's a little more serious. It's not as, it's not, Hercules kind of, you'll see. I mean, it's a mythological movie, so what are you going to do? But I'll tell you what, the dude looks the part. So we're going to be doing some Hercules, some Rocky 2. That's what we got.
All right, guys want to follow us in our social media accounts. Please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Anything Action Movie Guys, head over to youtube.com/Action Movie Guys. Subscribe, hit the like buttons on your favorite episodes. And of course, you can take us on the go with the Action Movie Guys podcast, available on all podcast platforms. And of course, you guys can follow also the Geeks, letter N Flicks, on TikTok and Instagram. Other than that, he is your host,
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
I'm his co-host, Alex Figueroa. Be awesome to each other and geek out.